So Michael Gerhard Martin is our next reader. Author of Easiest If I Had a Gun, a new short story collection from Alleyway Books, an imprint of Braddock Avenue Books. Mike?
It's nice to see you all tonight. Like a lot of people in Pittsburgh, at one point someone told me about 54% of people in Pittsburgh, I was raised Roman Catholic. And that means guilt, you know, that means a lot of guilt. And an almost, you know, kinky urge to confess. So I'm going to confess something to you guys right now. I left Pittsburgh about 10 years ago. It was my city. I came here when I was about 17 years old, and Allentown and Philadelphia, those were my dad's cities, my grandfather's cities, but this was going to be my city. And I stayed for a long time. I stayed for about 14 years, but it's never been an easy place to live, I think, for a lot of people. And when I left, I kind of felt like I was getting the bum's rush. We're here on September 11th, and it was shortly after 2001 that we started seeing less work. You know, I went from teaching a lot to delivering a lot of burritos from Mad Max, and then that kind of trailed off too. And so my joke for years has been, when people say, "Where are you from?" I say Pittsburgh, and then I wait a beat, and then I say, "It's where dreams go to die." And I get a lot of mileage out of that. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of that joke over the years. But if I'm honest, if I'm really honest, my dream, my whole life, since I was a very small child, was to have a book. And my dream got published in Pittsburgh, which makes me both a liar, but I'm a fiction writer, I can live with that. But it makes me both a liar and, in the local parlance, a jagoff. And it's not the first time I've been called that. So I think in the Liberty Tunnels, as I cut over into the lane I wasn't supposed to be in, I think I got called that just a few minutes ago.
I guess, why these characters? Why these stories?
I got asked that when I read at Newbury College in Boston, which was a very young audience, very diverse, very urban audience, and I stopped for a minute. It's a big question. You know, why do you write about the people you write about? And what I came up with, and the crowd seemed to really spark to, was that you know, these people matter. They might not be middle class New Yorkers. But they matter. Just, you know, the idea that you transport a story to the hills south of Pittsburgh, to urban Appalachia, and suddenly it's less interesting, and it's less immediate. I think there's a great deal of beauty in the kind of hard scrabble surviving that my characters do, and I try to take characters that you probably wouldn't want to spend a lot of time with in real life, and I try to make them sympathetic and make you understand why they're crass, or why they're grating, or why they behave the way they do because of that that deep existential pain that they carry around with them, that we all carry around with us at a certain age. Elsa waited at the door with a full rolling cart of stock that smelled like Spanish moss and dried eucalyptus, reading a self-help book for small business owners. A Mexican girl in a security uniform, her sleek curls pulled close at the nape of her neck, was pacing slowly in front of the big steel doors, looking bored. Elsa looked up and joined the other merchants in giving her the eye. The book suggested that she think of a word that defined the mission of her business, a single word for what she was trying to bring to the world, just one word that she could repeat to herself for inspiration. She thought failure, and her jaw tightened. She had lost $6,000 on a rained-out craft show the week before, and their home equity line of credit was maxed. She was operating at a loss. She was operating, she thought, on blind faith. Faith that the doors would open, faith that the people would come, faith that she would be able to retire someday, faith that she would keep her home, faith that she would die before she ran out of money. Why can't they let us in a few minutes early? What could it possibly hurt, she wondered to the woman beside her. God forbid, the woman said. Elsa searched for her name and remembered it was Cynthia. She sold tacky glitter snowman sweatshirts. Cynthia pitched her voice at the security guard and said, "For $6,000, God forbid they let us set up 15 minutes early." A murmur ran through the crowd. The Mexican girl was pretending she hadn't heard them, but Elsa could tell she had. She glared at the girl and thought, that's what I'm paying for, to have somebody keep me from setting up, to have somebody keep me from making money. She looked behind her at the lengthening line and saw her husband's red shirt bobbing towards her in the distance. She needed glasses, but she knew it was him by his walk, which reminded her of a sandpiper she'd once seen at the Jersey Shore. She flapped her arm until he gestured with a styrofoam coffee cup in his hand. He was balancing a box of Krispy Kreme donuts in the other. They had discovered Krispy Kreme while scouting the show 3 years before, and the chain had not come as far north as Pennsylvania. He handed her the coffee cup, 3 creams and 2 sugars, and she washed down her blood pressure pills. At 7:30, a huge black security guard came out and gave the uniformed girl a nod. She opened the doors, and Elsa helped Ernie push the cart over the threshold. The thing that I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of readers from around here, including one who lives in Vermont that I ran into at AWP, it's sort of like they say it's a trip home, and I guess there's no better compliment you can have when you're writing about a region. It's kind of my region, like it's not so far from where I grew up, but Allentown in Pennsylvania Dutch country is where I'm originally from, but Pittsburgh's my adult life. It's not my childhood, but it's my young adult life, and it feels welcoming when people say that.